My name is Senator Cleophas Malala. I am the Senator of the good county of Kakamega. I'm also the Deputy Minority Leader in the Senate. And just to mention, I was the first Deputy Speaker of Kakamega County Assembly in the year 2013 to 2017. I was elected as a member of County Assembly representing my Akalo ward, which covers Kakamega town. But today I'm here just to speak to the Kenyan community living outside Kenya. Upon my election in 2017 as the Senator for Kakamega, I came into leadership with a lot of belief that I was going to change the stereotypical thinking that leadership is so much of being official. Leadership is so much of engaging in the mandate as provided for in the Constitution and limiting ourselves in those boundaries. But upon my election, I decided to demystify the leadership as it is perceived by most of our people back up at home. So as a young leader, I have dedicated my life to serving the good people of Kakamega. I have done a number of activities, just to mention but a few. I've been able to host the Malala Job and Career Expo, which encompasses and encapsulates the visions and the aspirations the young people of Kakamega are trying to nurture. We have also hosted the Kakamega Free Medical Camp. I am glad to mention that this camp has been able to touch the vulnerable cases in the society. We treated approximately 18,000 people for free. We've partnered with the National Health Insurance Fund. We've partnered with the National Security, Social Security Fund. We've partnered with so many other organizations just to make sure that we touch the lives of those vulnerable people living in Kakamega. And lastly, the gist of my leadership is the Malala Super Cup. Malala Super Cup is a football extravaganza which brings in together 623 local village teams in Kakamega County. This year we have made it possible for the teams, first of all, to win 1 million shillings. The second runners-up is going home with 500,000 Kenya shillings, and the third runners-up is going home with 250,000 shillings. We are kitting almost 300 teams with football apparel, just to mention but a few, the jerseys, football, nets, and training equipment. My aspiration and my passion has been to nurture talent. Personally, apart from being a senator, I am a script writer, I'm a director, I am a producer. I do theater productions. As you remember, in 2013, I did the controversial Shackles of Doom, a play which didn't go well with the government establishment then. It was denied exposure to the world, but eventually we got a court order to expose the content of the play. And just to touch on it, basically what I was prophesizing in Shackles of Doom is actually happening in Kenya right now. We have seen Kenya suffering from what we call an equal distribution of resources. Communities are struggling and struggling for the few resources that we have, and that is why the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga and His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta came together in a handshake engagement just to make sure that Kenya is united once more. We have this element of inclusivity. That play used to address issues of inclusivity. I am glad that what I saw 7 years ago is now actualizing into reality. I'm here courtesy of the American Institute of African Development, which invited me just to benchmark on the theater and film standards in Hollywood. And I'm glad that today I was able to visit a number of places. We went to Hollywood just to try and benchmark on what is going on there. And I'm glad that I've seen a very distinctive difference between Kenya and Hollywood when it comes to film and theater. One thing that I've realized, there's a lot of commitment. Before we talk about opportunity, before we talk about the prowess in production, we have what we call conviction in what the actors and the producers of Hollywood are experiencing here in California. It is very important for people to learn from the best. And the first thing I've taken from these people is the conviction, the urge to be perfect, and the prowess in doing their stuff. And therefore, I'll be taking home a very great attribute when it comes to film production, and that's the attitude. The attitude to be positive. That is what we lack in Kenya. Second, I think the technological infrastructure that the Hollywood producers and actors enjoy, I think it is a thing that I would want to benchmark and also request the community living outside Kenya, and especially here in Los Angeles, to ensure that they help the Kenyan theater industry to build capacity when it comes to equipment, when it comes to the editorial suits that they enjoy here. I would really want us to have an exchange program so that we open up a channel of communication between the Kenyan artist and the Hollywood artist. I think if that humble Kenyan boy who is trying to come up to be a movie star gets an opportunity just to come and visit Hollywood, I think that will be enough inspiration for that Kenyan boy, for that Kenyan actor, for that Kenyan actress. We've seen products like Lupita Nyong'o coming up from Kenya, and that shows that we are a bedrose of talent back in Kenya. We have a lot of talent in acting, we have a lot of talent in narrative, in so many genres of theater. And therefore it's very important for us as a country to open up a channel of communication, a platform that will link these two communities to ensure that the Kenyan theater film is activated and enjoys the benefits that the Hollywood actors are having right here. And therefore, as a senator, I have done enough proposals to different organizations here in Hollywood, and I am optimistic that those proposals are going to be actualized and to the benefit of our people back at home. As the senator, I'll be challenging the current establishment to ensure that when we have appointments, government appointments, to consider people with special expertise to come back home and just harness from the wide experience they have here in the US. I'll also be advocating for the activation of a formal framework that will have the diaspora community communicating with the government just in case they have anything that they would want to be addressed. As a senator, I'll be willing to open up such conversations to ensure that we link Kenya to the community living outside Kenya in a conversation that will spur economic development and generally the social development that we so much want to enjoy. Second, I will also urge the people living in the US to consider investing back at home, because home is home. East or west, home is home. As Sajwan said, that when you set to go for a journey, eventually you always go back home. And therefore it's very important for them to consider investing back at home. And as a leadership back at home, we are willing to give them an opportunity to come and spur development back at home to the benefit of our people. Otherwise, I'm very grateful for the people living in the US for such marvelous hospitality they have showcased.